So this is the centered zipper sample in the sample book group 2. The group 2 we did also already the corner, inward corner, the curved seam, and also two types of curved seams. And right now we are moving on to the zippers. So we will learn 4 types of zippers. The first one is the centered zipper. The preparation for all of them is you will be tracing your sewing line using the tracing paper and tracing wheel. So I transferred the information from paper to fabric, and I indicated the upper seam over here is considered the waistline seam, and this seam over here either going to be, in usual cases, it is the sides, the center back seam, or the side seam in some applications. Notice that there is a mark over here that indicates where the zipper stop will be placed. So the zippers that we are going to use for different exercises, 3 of the exercises we will use the regular zipper, and for the invisible zipper you will use an invisible zipper. The difference between the regular zipper and the invisible zipper, as you can see that the regular zipper, you can see the zipper coil. So this plastic part is called the zipper coil. And this one, the zipper coil is visible from the right side of the zipper. So this is the right side of this zipper, and this is the right side of this zipper. And in the invisible zipper, the teeth are not showing on the right side of the zipper, and if I flip it, I can see the teeth on the opposite side. All right. So this is the zipper coil, and these are called the zipper teeth. The plastic parts over here are called the zipper teeth. So the zipper has a bottom stopper, and it has also like 2 top stoppers that will prevent the zipper pull. So this one piece over here is called the zipper pull, and it prevents it from coming out of the zipper. So I have a stopper on the top, and I have another stopper in the bottom that prevents the zipper pull from kind of going outside of the zipper, or being detached, or like being pulled beyond that stopper part. And this part over here is called the zipper tape. So any zipper usually have a top 2 stoppers, a bottom stopper. The zipper coil has zipper teeth, and the zipper pull is kind of trapped between the upper stopper and the lower stopper. Okay, and the tape on the side is called the zipper tape. All right. The same thing happens with the invisible zipper. You just don't see them. The zipper stopper in the invisible zipper basically is a plastic, melted plastic, but also there is a zipper stopper over here, and in the top there is also a zipper stopper that is made out of plastic. All right, and it prevents the zipper pull from coming off the zipper tape. And the zipper pull itself is trapped between these 2 stoppers. Okay, so in this case we are going to do the centered zipper technique, and we are going to use a regular zipper for that exercise. So the next step is I am going to guide you through how to assemble the centered zipper sample. I transferred my information from the pattern to the fabric using the tracing paper and the tracing wheel. This line over here represents the waistline, and this will be the center back seam. So now that I transferred my information, I can take my pins off, and this will be the wrong side of the fabric, and this will be the right side of the fabric. I will pin the two pieces together at this mark over here. This mark over here is the zipper stop placement. So I am going to mark this area by pinning, so that I remember while I'm sewing that I am going to change my stitch size at this point. Again, I will also pin the beginning, so this is the junction between the waistline and the center back seam or the side seam, depending on the way you are trying to assemble your garment. And I will be pinning in between, making sure that my pin is on the tracing line on both sides. Okay, so from the waist to the zipper placement point, I will use the longest stitch that is on the machine. In the Juki it's stitch number 5, and I will do the same thing on this machine. The number 5 stitch, we use it for two purposes. Either we are doing a machine basting, so a temporary stitch. In this case, because it's a temporary stitch, we're not going to back stitch. And also we use it in gathering. We will see that when we do the sleeve exercise. So from the top of the seam up to this pin, which is the zipper stop placement pin, I will use the longest stitch on the machine, and then from that point down I will back stitch beginning and end as usual, so that it's a permanent stitch and it stays in place. So again, I pinned and I have my tracing line, so I am centering my tracing line and aligning it with the needle, and I will use the longest stitch without back stitching. Remove my pins as I go. And so here is my last stitch before the pin. Okay, I'm removing my pin, adjusting my stitch length to number 2, and then I'll take a couple of stitches, back stitch, and then I will finish the seam as usual, which is I'll go until the end and then back stitch again. And then back stitch. So this is the first step with for sewing this exercise, which is the centered zipper exercise. Okay, so if I come closer, you can see that the stitch length over here much bigger than the stitch length over here. This is number 5 and this is number 2 stitch. Okay, and again you can see that I backstitched at the beginning and end, and that will be below the zipper stopper. Alright, the next step I will use the iron and the ironing board to press my seam open, and also this is the time where I can, if my seam is an exposed seam, I will serge the seam edges before I apply my zipper. So I'll do that. I will press the seam open. Okay. All right. And off camera, I will serge the seam allowance. And then I'll come back to finish the zipper. Okay. So my seam now is ready for serging. So I went ahead and I pressed my seam open and serged the seams, and then I will proceed to attaching my zipper. The way I need to attach my zipper, there are two things that I need to do. I will kind of snip or tear my machine basting every like inch and a half or so. I will just interrupt the stitching line, and that's in preparation for like when I'm done I'll be taking this stitching off. So I am kind of like just in this case kind of weakening the stitching line, but at the same time I don't want to take it all apart. I'm just snipping every inch and a half or so. Okay, and I'm not gonna come too close to the upper end of my stitching line. So this is step one. And then step two, I marked where the zipper stopper should be. So I want to transfer this information from the back side of the fabric to the front side of the fabric. So I will be I inserted pin, and I can see it from the outside, and then I'll move it to the other side where it's basically showing me where the zipper stopper should be. This is my regular zipper. It is called centered zipper technique. So this means that the zipper will be centered on the seam. So the center of the zipper coil is aligned with the center of the seam. Okay, and this is where I marked my zipper stopper will be. So I will align the lower edge of the zipper stopper with my pin. Okay, and center to center. So center to center of the zipper coil and the seam, and also the lower edge of the zipper stopper is aligned with my pin. Okay, and I will pin my zipper in place. So that's my first pin. Okay, and then I'll flip it over so I can see my zipper coil, and I will center my zipper coil to to the center of my seam, and I'll pin until I get to the other side. Put another one somewhere in between. Okay, so this is how I pinned it. If I flip it over, you will see that my zipper pull and the rest of my zipper teeth or my zipper coil is above my seam. That's fine with the nylon zippers or the plastic zippers, because I can after I finish sewing the zipper to the garment, I can use the machine to do basically a stopper stitch above the kind of where at the level of the seam. So I can do that, and that will prevent the pull from coming out. But for now I'll leave it as it is, and I will go back to the opposite side, and what I need to do is I need to baste my zipper to the seam allowance on both sides. Okay, and also I can baste the zipper to the outside of the garment, and I will use that basting to hold the zipper to the garment before I top stitch it, using the machine as a final stitch to attach it to the garment. Okay, so I'll start first by basting the zipper to the seam allowance. I can do that actually using the longest stitch length on the machine as a machine basting stitch. So I will use the longest stitch length, and I'll be basting the zipper tape to the seam. Okay, I'm working only with one side of the seam allowance and one side of the zipper tape. And notice that I did not back stitch. This is a temporary stitch just to hold the zipper to the seam allowance. Okay, so if I come closer, you can see that the zipper is held to the seam allowance, and if I go to the right side of the garment, it's not showing. It's the stitching is just between the zipper and the seam allowance of the garment. Okay, and I'll do the same thing on the other side. So I will do basting stitch to hold the zipper tape to the seam allowance of the garment. The most important thing is keep your garment out of the way so that you don't stitch on it. I can remove my pins as I go. Now that I attach the other side, I'm not worried about the zipper going anywhere because it's already fixed in place on the other side. And I'll do it until I get to my marking pin, and that's it. This is my last stitch. Again, it's holding the zipper tape to the seam allowance as just a basting stitch. To baste the zipper teeth to the zipper to the garment itself, I have to draw a mark that is 1/4 of an inch away from the seam on this side, 1/4 of an inch away from this side, and also a horizontal line that's connecting these two lines. So I will use my heat erasable pen to create this mark so that I can baste my zipper tape to the garment. So I have my ruler and my pen, and I'm using green so that you can see the difference, and I am aligning the center of the seam with the center, the 1/4 inch line, and I am kind of going to mark 1/4 of an inch on each side of the seam. Okay, and I'll do the same thing on the other side. So I am centering the quarter inch line with the center of the seam, and then I'll mark on the edge of my ruler until I get out. Okay, and my pin is marking where the zipper stopper should be, so I will be using that pin as my guide. Alright, so now you can see I marked a quarter of an inch on each side, and I marked also where the zipper stopper should be, and that's where my how I'm going to use these lines for both basting the zipper to the fabric and also for stitching the zipper to the garment. So the next step will be running a running stitch on these lines to hold both of them together, and then the last step will be stitching with the machine as the final step, and I will take my basting stitch off once I'm done and happy with the result. So I prepared my single thread for a running stitch. Okay, and I will be basting all the layers together on that line. You can do it right on the inside of that line, so when you are sewing with the machine, you are sewing on the line itself. So also you can leave a tail, or if you want to back stitch the first stitch for the basting stitch. Alright, so I am kind of basting right inside of the traced line that I created, and I'm involving all the layers in my stitching. You can speed up this part. When you come to the corner, you're gonna get into the corner, and then you can come out the other side. Okay. Make sure that your needle is stitching under the zipper stopper. Okay, because if the zipper stoppers come under your needle, it's going to break the needle. So make sure that it is not going to be interfering with your machine sewing. So the basting stitch that I did with between the zipper tip and the seam allowance is holding the zipper in place. I don't have to fight with it that much. Okay, and I'm just finishing my basting stitch to attach all the layers together temporarily. Okay, and this will be my last stitch. I can back stitch one and then come out at the end. I find this a better way of attaching the centered zipper. There are several ways to do the same thing. Usually when the zipper pull is out of the way, that will give you a better result. Usually if the zipper pull is involved in the stitching, it tends to push the final permanent stitch out and make it like wider over here, and that's not a good professional finish. I don't mind it being not involved in the stitching, because I always can create a hand sewn or a machine sewn zipper stopper that will prevent the zipper pull from coming out. So now that I stitched, I am using, actually my foot is multi-purpose, so right now I moved the needle to the left side of the foot. You can see that there is a groove over here, so with the jukis you will use the left piping foot, okay, so that your needle is that your foot is holding the fabric in place and your needle is stitching right next to it. So what I'm going to do in this case, I am going to align the edge of my basting stitch with the outer edge of my foot, so that my needle is stitching right on top of or right outside of my hand basting, okay. This is a permanent stitch, so I need to take few stitches, and I will use the number 2 stitch, and then back stitch, and then I'll continue stitching until I get to this corner. Now that everything is in place, I can remove my pins, and I don't need them anymore. Actually, now that I feel things, my zipper stopper is right here. So actually I'll keep, apparently I make the mark a little bit higher, so I can feel my zipper stopper. Or if I sew over here, what's gonna happen is that basically the machine stitching will create a new zipper stopper. So it's a technicality. I can stick to the length of my zipper in this case and my mark, or if I go over here, what's gonna happen is the zipper is gonna open up to this point. But because I did the back stitching at this point, so I will actually end, or my horizontal line will be at this point. And here is a new mark, okay? And I'll be stitching until I get to this point, pivot, do the horizontal stitch, and then pivot again to go back towards the waist seam. I'll start from the waist seam, pivot, pivot, and go back to the waist seam using the same foot. So, something is holding my thread, so I have to check. If you hear any abnormal sound or your machine is not working well, stop and find out what's going on. In my case, my bobbin thread was actually looping wrong, and it created loops of thread under the machine, so I had to clean that up and start all over again. Now that I fixed it, I can go ahead and attach my zipper. So again, I am aligning the marked edge with my the outer edge of my foot. And until I get to my new mark, which marks where the bottom of the zipper stopper is. And I'll remove my pin and then hand crank the last 2 stitches. Okay, I'll keep my needle down to anchor my fabric, and then I will pivot and stitch the horizontal. You can count the stitches from the corner to the center line, and then count the same number from the center line to the other side. So I stopped at the corner. 1, 2, 3, and 4 to the center, and then I'll do another 4, and then I'll pivot again. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and then I'll pivot. Seems to me like I need to take another one, just one more. And then I am pivoting, and I'll keep my marked line also aligned with the left side of the foot. Until I get to the edge, and then I'll backstitch. And backstitch. And that's the end of my stitching. So right now I attached the zipper to my garment. Okay, I'm cleaning up all my thread on both sides. Alright. Okay, I'm inspecting my stitching. If there is any area that I don't like, I can redo it. And the last thing I need to do is, now that I have my zipper attached to my garment, I can remove my basting thread. Okay. And also I can open my temporary stitching that I did with the machine, all until I get to the point where the bottom of the zipper stopper is. Okay, you can do this part by hand, and I'm done over here. Okay, and the zipper is attached, and it is centered, and the 2 lips of the zipper are meeting exactly in the center. And I can also remove my basting stitch, so I can pull that thread. Be careful not to tear your fabric. Okay. And I can pull my thread over here. So this is done. You still can see the green line, because that's the heat erasable marker. So if I just take it to the ironing board and iron, it's totally disappeared and it's not there anymore. Okay, and you can see that the zipper is more or less equal on both sides. Okay, and it is functioning. All right. Right now I don't want to cut this. What I can do actually is I want to create like a machine zipper stopper, so I can create a new zipper stopper, and I can do the same thing on the other side. Okay, and the zipper has to be open, and your zipper pull has to be away from your stitching. Okay, and I'm gonna do forward and back stitching, and that's within the seam allowance of the waist. Okay, and I'm done, so I can trim my thread. Okay, and now the zipper will stop where I created my stitch. So you can see now that the zipper will stop where I created my stitch. And also when you attach your waistband, that will be another point where the zipper will stop. So this is just to prevent if you want to trim the zipper tape over here, you have a stopper that will prevent the zipper pull from coming out of your garment and ruining your zipper. Okay, so this is the centered zipper technique. Alright, and I'll see you in the next one. You will find the instructions on the paper, and you can follow the instructions that were given in the class, and also this video is another visual aid that will help you get your sample done. See you in the next one.